Everyone, I just wanted to show you real quick how to create your FSA ID, and some of you might be wondering what the FSA ID is, and that's a really great question. So the FSA ID is actually the login that you will create in order to complete the FAFSA, and so you will need one, and if you are considered a dependent student, then your parent will need one as well. So I'm just going to show you how to do that real quick. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it is super important, so we need to complete that. So the first thing that you need to do is just go ahead and type into the URL bar fsaid.ed.gov. And if you want to just Google that, if you just do FSA ID, it'll be this first one that pops up. Just make sure that it does say fsaid.ed.gov, but you should be totally fine. So once you're on this page, you're just going to scroll down and you're going to do create an FSA ID. So make sure that this first tab is clicked as opposed to the manage my FSA ID. So we're going to click create. And now you're going to create a username. And you're going to create a password that meets all of these qualifications. So once it's met, it's going to check it off. And make sure you do show text because you do need to know this password. And so I typed my password just how I thought I did. And I'm just going to fill that in again. And now we're going to click continue. And so now you're going to fill in your information. Make sure that you double check and do show text. It is extremely important that your social security number on here matches what your real social security number is. But since I just put in a fake one, I'm just going to click continue. And so now we're just going to fill in our contact information. And this page asks us for our email and our phone number. And why it asks for it is that if you ever happen to forget your username or your password, which I really strongly recommend that you write that down right now, that you put it in your super important files, wherever you keep tax information, all of those types of things. Make sure you keep up with that. Make sure that you know it because you will need it for however long that you are in school. But I will say, if you happen to forget it, then you can do a password or username recovery through email or text on your cell phone. That being said, you really need to make sure that if you put an email, you actually have access to this email. It is not your school email because those emails would get blocked, and that you remember this email, and like I said, that you really do have access to it. Like you know the email, you know the password for it, all those kinds of things. Now for the cell phone, if you are someone who has pretty consistently kept that same phone number for a while and you don't see any reason why it would change anytime soon at all, you can put in that phone number. If you are someone who gets their phone number changed a lot for whatever reason, then you should probably not include your phone number because you really would not be able to recover your username or password through that option because you won't have the same phone number on file. So I'm going to fill in both. You should only have to fill in one, but just make sure that you really do have access to whichever ones you put in, okay? So I'm just going to do that now. And this little checkbox is just asking, can they use the phone number to do username and password recoveries? And so I'm just going to keep it checked yes. You do not need to put in an alternate phone number. Some of you might have those, I just don't. And I think a lot of people probably don't have an alternate phone number either, so I'm just going to leave it blank. And now we're just going to put our mailing address. and then just choose your language preference, whether it be English or Spanish. And if you ever need any help with any of these questions, you can just click these little question marks and they'll give you a little bit more information. So I'm going to click continue. And so now we have to choose our challenge questions. And I also encourage that you write down these as well, at least the answers, because, you know, if you don't remember them and you do need to reset your username or password, you're going to have a lot of issues. So now we're just going to click some challenge questions for you. And make sure that you do double check and do show text so you know exactly how it's plugged in. So you can see right here in the little question mark for challenge question answers, it just gives you a little bit of criteria. And you will see that the answers are not case sensitive for these answers. But like if you include a space now, you better include a space later. Those kinds of things with the capitalization won't matter. Okay, so this is a problem that for some reason happens a lot. As you can see, I am trying to click and it really won't let me type anything. And when that happens, all I do is I go to the previous page and then I click continue again and then come back and see if that resets it. Now sometimes you do have to fill in some information again, but it's better than totally refreshing the page and losing that information. And again, just make sure you click show text every time just to make sure you have typed in exactly what you wanted to type in. Alright, and so I have all my challenge questions in, and now I'm going to click continue. And this page is just asking you to verify everything that you have plugged in. So make sure you do show text on all of these. I'm not going to do show text on the social just for the purposes of recording. But go to contact information, make sure everything's correct. Challenge questions, double check those answers one last time. Make sure, again, if you have not written any of this down yet, that you go ahead and write it down, because it is imperative that you remember this information. And now all you're going to do is you're going to read the terms and conditions. They're not very long. I do recommend reading them. There's a little bit of information on the text messaging options if you chose that, and how you should really be the only person that has access to your FSA ID. You're going to click that you certify that everything is correct, and then you're going to click continue. And I am not going to click continue because I definitely plugged in a lot of false information here because I was doing a tutorial for you. But that is pretty much it. I believe it will ask you to verify your email or phone number once you hit complete. So just make sure that you follow that last step for you, and that's pretty much all there is. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helped. Y'all have a good day.